Desmond Morris has 10 golden rules for number ones. This is mastery, possession, ownership, power, status, control. Being number one. What does that mean for you, right? So the first rule is you must clearly display the trappings, posture, and gestures of dominance. Number two, in moments of active rivalry, you must treat your subordinates aggressively and even threaten them. Number three, in moments of physical challenge, you or your delegates must be able to forcibly overpower your subordinates. Number four, if a challenge involves brain, not brawn, you must be able to outwit your subordinates. 5, you must suppress squabbles that break out between subordinates. And 6, you must reward your immediate subordinates, but permitting them to enjoy the benefits of their high ranks. 7, you must protect the weaker members from undue persecution. 8, you must make decisions concerning the social activities of your group. You must assure your extreme subordinates from time to time. And 10, you must take the initiative in repelling threats or attacks arising from outside your group. I want to share something from Jean-Louis Barrault. The mime must first of all be aware of this boundless contact with things. There's no actually, I want to share a different quote. Yeah, from the same person, Jean-Louis Barrault. Just as the earth is surrounded by an atmosphere, the living human being surrounded by a magnetic aura, which makes contact with the external objects without any this aura makes contact with external objects without any concrete contact with the human body. This aura or atmosphere varies in depth according to the vitality of human beings. The mime must first of all be aware of this boundless contact with things. There's no insulating layer of air between the man and the outside world, and any man who moves about causes ripples in the ambient world in the same way a fish does when it moves in the water. So here we're talking about two types. I went on one side of the spectrum of power, which is aggressive, full-fledged, asserting power. The other side I just showed was that you automatically have power. You have aura, a magnet around you. When you move like a fish in water, it creates ripples, right? There's no insulating layer. You are affecting your outside world with everything you do and say. And this idea is kind of like a paradox. We want to be in power, and at the same time we're given this automatic, just surrendering, we are in power. This is called paradox, kind of, to be both powerless and power. I mean, how many people can really be number one after I just read Desmond Morris's rules of being number one? The Orthodox, and obviously Orthodox as a word, not to do with any particular religion, is the ability to bring paradox of divide into nullification. This is between intention or encodement and manifest physical. Let's unpack or break it down. We're doing breakdown here. So the ability to bring paradox of divide. Paradox means on the one hand, we're totally, we have to assert power. On the other hand, we're passively powerful. So the manifest physical is we're automatically like in power, right? Or the intention, I want to be number one. You have to like act it out. This becomes nullified when we're able to be orthodox. We're able to be in that paradox of both. And for a lot of us, there's rage involved with power, because on the one hand, there's tolerating injustice. So we just sort of like allow we become the subordinate, and, you know, we might be threatened, we might have our portion taken, those above us could persecute us. And on the other hand, there's rage, holy rage, which is like, no, I am automatically powerful. How do you know I'm not number one? And this is like the root we have that's like sacred. And I say root because in Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism, we learn that the world is actually upside down. V'nahapachu. Olam, the world, v'nahapachu, upside down. And some people who have been, you know, spiritual masters, or, you know, consider themselves to be able to explore other realms, have said that they saw this world in other from other perspectives, or it's all upside down. So they mention that it's possible that our feet are really like above and our head is below, and yet we experience our feet being below and our head above. So here's some things to, yes, we have to balance cautious risk, but we also have to connect with our willingness. And that's our sacred root. We are automatically empowered. So there's a few concepts I want to bring in. One is it takes two. It always takes two. There's an other. Whether you have one, and if you have a one, that means you have a two. If you have someone who's number one more than you, then you're number two. If you're more number one, then they're number two. The next concept is that techniques cannot control the situation or others. They can assert power. It does not mean that you won't be challenged. It does not mean that you won't be annihilated, especially if someone else considers himself number one. There's also the idea that forceful persistence escalates the resistance of the co-relator. What does that mean? That means the partner in the shared relationship, if they've not chosen on their own to be open to the good and the mutual benefit, and they don't want to invest benefit of the doubt and consideration, then if they might be very resistant if you are pushy. Right? If you're pushy and you're pushy because something good, right? You're being forceful and you're persisting because you want to make the best out of things, but they will become, it escalates the situation. They'll be very resistant if they haven't chosen on their own. And so you're overriding their will, and they don't see that it's mutual benefit. They don't see that it's good. They're not open, and they don't want to invest the credit or the consideration or benefit of the doubt. In their case, they're seeing here someone who's threatening them or trying to subordinate them, or they are trying to usurp their power. Next is hierarchy functions because of stigma and confirmation. So the admittance of, automatically defective by being on the receiving end. So when you're the receiver, you're like, there's this faulty perception that the receiver it's a lower status to need anything, and that it's a higher status to be providing something, without realizing that to be relevant as a giver, there needs to be a receiver presence. Like someone nowadays posting a video and not one person looks at it. It's almost showing how not powerful they are. So yet you would say they're the giver, right? They're the one creating the content and you're the consumer. So this hierarchy function of stigma and confirmation, conforming, not confirmation like IR, like conforming, I'll just say conforming. The conforming and the stigma is like this auto admittance, like as if you're defective, otherwise you'd be a giver. There is a truth from the Lubavitcher Rebbe that we all want to be givers, productive members of society. However, there needs to be a receiver. So we also all need to be receivers. So someone giving someone else the chance to be useful, purposeful, or even have a sort of a charge, authority, a possession, even of time and space. Like you're the audience and you're giving them your time and attention, and they're a guest and you're hosting them. And it's like not the guest, like, oh, I feel bad for them, they have nowhere to go, but oh, that's the king. I'm so lucky that I could host the king. This idea that the one who is offering is dependent on the one accepting. And this is a very Jewish idea about charity. You wouldn't have anyone to give to. Your little measly thing that you got, and measly means like, even if you have $1 billion, it's nothing compared to infinite dollars. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, you're a little $1 billion and you invested over your lifetime, and it's like, well, there's infinite dollars. So how much of a difference do you really make? Like, is anyone really living and breathing for you? Like, no, right? So what am I really saying here? That to be the one who could give $1 billion, you need to be able to have something to give $1 billion to. There are some people who they pass away with millions, and the inheritance goes to the animal. They need someone to give it to, and they have no one. Can you imagine someone feeling that they have to give it to their animal? Sure, they might be very attached to the animal, but they didn't have a human. The animal was because they could have power over the animal. Assumptions are, and a lot of times I want to add, the animals have power over the humans. You'd think that the one taking care of the animal is the one in power, but actually the dog or the cat may decide how often they need attention, and they need you to play, and they make a mess, and they could be in power. You respond to their cues. They're the receiver, but they're in charge of you. So, there's a lot of assumptions involved. These often are shortcuts. because of hierarchy, their generalizations, attachments. And also, I mentioned before, it could be like this, they're the ones who need the benefits. Like in the government, they give welfare to the ones who need benefits. So we might have an attachment to identity that marginalizes people. Or like we might not even, someone's not even trying to understand. We might think that, not individualizing care that's needed. And it's a lazy way, actually, because you may have people that need something, but there's just like this cookie cutter way of giving. You're not really giving to the person based on what they need. And also, we may be ignoring the gifts that we have because we're so busy attached, kind of like there's an imbalance in the pressure tactics versus like nurturing and encouraging. So the original thought, the creative potential, what do I mean? I want to be a giver. Why? Because that person is suffering. I don't want them to be suffering. I want to give them my love, my life, my vibration, my energy, my hope, my strength. And we may be ignoring that my gift is to have those things, right? My gift is to have strength, hope, and vitality, energy, light, oneness. So there's these pressure tactics versus nurturing and encouraging. So this person may be giving you a gift to see what you have to offer. And instead you might be like using your power to be pushy or to force. Sometimes even making someone receive from you what they really are too embarrassed to say no. Rather than we can be like nurturing and encouraging, and that's a different kind of power. That's where a lot of power lies. To be able to be, in our will to be nurturing, we will nurture people for who they really are and let them grow and become self-sufficient. And I'll stop here. Shortly I'm going to record another video for Friday so that I have enough time tomorrow to prepare for the Sabbath, even though the days are getting longer. All right, bye for now.